صباح الخير. عناوين اليوم: أبل تطلق منتجاتها الجديدة، بيع تطبيق جواكر لمجموعة سويدية، وتطبيق تستاهل يحصل على تمويل جديد. يا أهلا وسهلا فيكم ببرنامجكم صباحكم مع سماشي. معي أنا هالة بسام، ومعنا بخلف الكواليس علي.
صباح الخير يا جماعة الخير.
كيفك اليوم علي؟
الحمد لله تمام.
هل حضرت ايفنت أبل امبارح؟ لأنه أكيد هذا اللي رح نبدأ فيه أخبارنا لليوم.
أي أكيد من
إيه؟
محبين أبل أنا.
طبعا علي من اكثر محبي ابل، ولاي شخص ما قدر يتابع الايفنت بعد برنامج صباحكم مع سماشي رح تلاقوا بث مباشر للايفنت كامل على سماشي تي في على الموقع www.smashi.tv، او فيكم تحملوا تطبيق سماشي تي في موجود على الجوجل بلاي والاب ستور. كعادة لهذا الوقت من العام اطلقت عملاقة التقنية والتكنولوجيا ابل حزمة جديدة من المنتجات الجديدة، شملت 4 هواتف ايفون 13 وجهازي ايباد ايضا وايباد ميني، كلياتهم بتقنية الجيل الخامس وساعة ابل واتش 7، من دون اطلاق السماعات الجديدة ايربودز كما كان متوقع من ابل. جاء التصميم لهواتف ايفون 13 الجديدة شبيه جدا بتصميم هواتف ايفون 12، ما كان في فرق كبير حتى من دون تغيير يعني الشاشة مثلا مثل ما كان متوقع. وبدلا من التصميم اختارت ابل انها تركز على قوة المعالج، نظام الكاميرا اللي قالت انه الاقوى على الاطلاق، بالاضافة ايضا الى حديث عن دعم عمر البطارية، واللي هذا الموضوع بهم كتير اشخاص. وبالاضافة الى ذلك دعم الهواتف لمستوى جديد من الامن من خلال حماية الهاتف والبريد الالكتروني الوارد بطبقات اضافية من الحماية ضد الاختراق، طبعا متوافقة مع نظام iOS 15 الجديد اللي رح يطلق كتحديث مجاني مثل العادة. كما اطلقت ايضا ابل جهاز ايباد بشريحة A13 بايونتك أسرع ب20% من اللي كان في السابق. بالإضافة إلى ذلك رح يكون في كاميرا 12 ميجا بكسل وميزة سنتر ستيج، أو اللي هي موجودة رح تكون في الوسط، اللي بتتبع من يقف أمام الكاميرا الأمامية مباشرة وتلقائيا بسهولة. بالإضافة إلى ذلك أيضا كشفت أبل عن جهاز ايباد ميني الجديد، اللي قالت الشركة إنه بيتميز بأداء غير مسبوق وتصميم جديد مذهل أيضا مثل ما عم تشوفوا معنا أيضا. أما إذا بدنا نحكي عن ساعة أبل واتش 7 فرح تتوفر ب5 ألوان، وبالإضافة إلى ذلك رح يكون في لوحة مفاتيح لإدخال النص أيضا. فيما قالت الشركة إنها أقوى ساعة، وبتتميز أيضا قوة الشحن فيها بأسرع من كل الأجيال السابقة من ساعات أبل واتش. ورح تتوفر الساعة بسعر $399، وقالت إن الشركة رح تطلقها هذا الخريف. العديد من المنتجات اللي أطلقتها أبل يوم أمس، ولكن أيضا شاهدنا إنه أسهم أبل نزلت بعد هذا الإيفنت لسبب إنه كان المتوقع إنه يكون في أمور والإعلان عن أمور جديدة أكثر بكثير من اللي شفناها. يعني آيفون 13 ظهر بلونين مختلفين، اللي هو اللون الوردي واللون البيبي بلو أو السماوي الفاتح، واللي هي الألوان الجديدة، ولكن ما كان في هالأمور الجديدة الضخمة جدا. بآخر ربع بحب نوه إن شركة أبل حققت مبيعات رائعة جدا، وصلت أجهزتها لأكثر من والأرباح لأكثر من $64 مليار، مقسمة كانت على 4 أقسام. طبعا أول شيء طبعا منتج الآيفون اللي معظم الناس بتستخدمه وبتشتريه، كانت حصته $39.6 مليار. عندنا الساعات، السماعات وغيرها اللي هم الإكسسوارات وصلت إلى $8.8 مليار. أما عن أجهزة الكمبيوتر ماك فكان حصتها $8.2 مليار، وبالأخير كان عندنا الآيباد $7.4 مليار. علي، شو رأيك بالمنتجات الجديدة لأبل؟
والله أنا مستانس. أنتي مساعة قلتي خلف الكواليس وقبل اللايف قلتي إن وأخيرا اقتنعتي إن تشترين أبل واتش.
يعني 80%. لا تحطني تحت الأمر الواقع.
أنا صراحة الحين صار لي فترة ما شريت آيفون جديد، يعني الحين اللي عندي أنا آيفون اكس اس ماكس.
أوكي.
فقاعد أفكر إني أشتري آيفون وأبل واتش.
جميل. واثنين
الاثنين مع بعض كومبو.
حلو، جميل جدا. منتجات جميلة من ابل تحديدا، انه عم بيركزوا على موضوع يعني البطارية، امر مهم جدا. كتير في ناس بيعانوا منه بالايفون انه بتخلص بطارية بسرعة، ولكن في تغيير جذري بالكاميرا. فلصناع المحتوى، للناس اللي بيهمهم مثلا موضوع الكاميرا، في كتير ناس كانت عم تقول يوم امس على التغريدات اللي كنت عم بقراها على مواقع التواصل الاجتماعي ايضا، انه خلص ما عاد في داعي للكاميرا، يعني بنستخدم الايفون وخلص من قوة الايفون ال 13 رح تكون في شاشات اكثر اضاءة حتى لقراءة افضل خارج المنزل، رح يكون شاشات اسرع في التصفح والتحريك ايضا، وبطارية مثل ما ذكرنا عمرها رح يكون اطول. خلينا ننتقل لثاني خبر معنا لليوم ونحكي عن منطقتنا العربية والشركات. توصلت مجموعة ستيل فرونت جروب اي بي السويدية إلى اتفاق جديد للحصول على الملكية الكاملة لتطبيق ألعاب الورق الشهير جواكر مقابل مبلغ 205 ملايين دولار أمريكي. رح يتم منحها لمؤسسي التطبيق على شكل سيولة نقدية وأسهم في المجموعة. بالإضافة إلى ذلك رح تسهم هذه العملية في حصول مستثمري جواكر على 74% من قيمة الاستحواذ نقدا، فيما سيتم بيع النسبة المتبقية البالغة 26% على شكل حصص تم إصدارها مخصصا لإتمام هذه الصفقة في الشركة الأم. تأسست جواكر عام 2019 تقريبا في الأردن، وأصبحت من أكبر مطوري الألعاب في منطقة الشرق الأوسط وشمال أفريقيا، مع تطبيقها الشهير لألعاب الورق اللي عم يجمع أكثر من 30 لعبة مختلفة، وبيسمح بيسمح للاعبين من خوض تجربة اللعب مع أصدقائهم وين ما كانوا بأي مكان وبأي زمان. وانتقلت الشركة لاحقا إلى الإمارات العربية المتحدة لتتخذ من أبو ظبي تحديدا مقر لها. الآن تعود ملكية جواكر إلى مؤسسي التطبيق محمد الحاج حسن ويوسف أيضا بشكل أساسي، بالإضافة إلى عدد من الموظفين الحاليين في الشركة، وكذلك أيضا شركة 2454 الموجودة ومتواجدة في أبو ظبي. فعلا شاهدنا بالفترة الأخيرة، وكنا عم نحكي حتى تحت الهواء أنا وعلي على تطبيق جواكر إنه له صدى جدا كبير وشعبيته عم بتزيد، وتحديدا بالفترة الأخيرة، وعليه ترافيك عالي جدا جدا، كتير في ناس بتستخدمه. علي أنت كنت عم تقلي إنه كنا نستخدم التطبيق من زمان أصلا.
كنت استعمل التطبيق يوم مو بوايد اوادم كانوا يعرفون عنه.
بالضبط.
يعني مثلا اذا انا ويا ربعي نطلع مكان وما نقدر نستعمل مثلا البطايق، لان في اماكن ما نقدر نستعمل
صح اللي هي الورق
للعب. فقلنا يلا حصلنا هالبرنامج وقعدنا نلعب،
وبتكونوا قاعدين مع بعض على نفس الطاولة وقاعدين عم تلعبوا نفس اللعبة.
ايوه بالضبط.
جميل. خلونا ننتقل لآخر خبر معنا لليوم ونحكي أيضا عن الشركات الناشئة، ولكن تحديدا عن تطبيق تستاهل. أعلن عن تطبيق تستاهل اللي بيهتم تحديدا بمساعدة الوالدين على متابعة سلوكيات أطفالهم عن إغلاق جولته الاستثمارية الأولى بقيمة 3 مليون ريال سعودي تحديدا، من خلال التمويل الجماعي عبر منصة منافع المالية للملكية. وتمكن تطبيق تستاهل من إغلاق أول جولاته الاستثمارية في وقت وجيز جدا وقياسي، بلغ يوم واحد فقط، يعني كسروا الريكورد طبعا وفقا لما تم الإعلان عنه حتى الآن. يهدف هذا التطبيق لمساعدة المربين في متابعة الأطفال، سواء كان الآباء، الأمهات، معلمين، مربيين وغيره، وبيعد أداة لتكوين العادات المرغوبة وتعزيز السلوكيات الإيجابية عند الأطفال، بالإضافة طبعا لامتيازه بالعديد من النقاط كالسهولة والمرونة بتصفحه التفاعلي، وأيضا الأمور التكنولوجية، الجانب التكنولوجي من هذا التطبيق. بالإضافة إلى ذلك في تقارير، في إحصائيات، وأيضا فيه متجر إلكتروني. كما بيقدم عدة خيارات هامة للمتابعة من قبل الوالدين، ومن أهمها المهام اليومية، مهارات جديدة يتعلمها الطفل، وضع أهداف لتحقيق مثلا خطوة بخطوة ليحقق الطفل هذه الأهداف، ملخص يومي، أسبوعي وشهري. أيضا على الجانب الآخر يمكن للأطفال تحميل نسخة لتطبيق تستاهل، ولكن في فيرجن للأطفال، ومشاهدة تقييمهم أيضا، مما بيسهم في زيادة الانضباط وتعزيز الرقابة الذاتية وترسيخ الثوابت وتعزيز مهاراتهم وتنميتها. بتوقع تطبيق رائع جدا، حلو كتير إنه الأطفال من الصغر يبلشوا ينتبهوا إنه عندهم مثلا اهداف لازم يحققوها، حس الموضوع كي بي ايز وتقرير باخر الشهر لازم، ولحتى تعطيهم مثلا مكافأة وغيره. ولكن جميل جدا انه عم نشوف هذه التطبيقات منبعها من منطقتنا العربية. خليكم معنا بعد الفاصل، مقابلة اليوم مع مدربة الصوت ستيسي ثمس. خليكم معنا ولا تروحوا لبعيد.
Hi, can you hear me?
And we're back with Stacey Smith, all the way from New York, voice coach. Welcome to the show, Stacey.
Thank you so much for having me. This is wonderful. It's interesting, right? I'm here in New York and we're doing the interview, right? When I should be back there in Dubai.
It's fine. COVID taught us a lot of things like uncertainty, change in plans, everything. So we're used to it. And thank God for the technology. Like now it's so easy to conduct interviews and everything with people, even when they're abroad.
It's really wonderful.
Stacey, we were talking about how did it start, your journey towards voice coaching and everything. So can you share, please, your story with us?
Oh, geez, it's a long one, but I'll try to condense it. So I started very young. I moved to New York City when I was 17. Just like any young artist, I wanted to be big on Broadway and make it as I think at the time I wanted to be the next Christine Daae in Phantom of the Opera. And it's through a round of circumstances I found myself working with a pop production duo that at the time had a contract with Universal Motown, and Universal Motown doesn't really sign new artists anymore, but at the time they had a great catalog of artists. And I started singing ghost vocals for this production team, which I do not recommend whatsoever. But if you're not familiar with ghost vocals, they had me singing on tracks. Basically, they would have a girl group that was already signed to the label, and I would be brought in at like 2-3 o'clock in the morning to re-sing all of the vocals.
Wow.
And then they mix them into kind of like that old school like Milli Vanilli stuff.
Yeah.
They'd mix it into the vocals, and then these girls would go on tour, and nobody knew the better. And that was kind of, in a weird way, it was my foot in the door, because I had been doing it for quite some time, and it wasn't a really great situation for me. I wasn't getting paid or anything for that, but I was learning and soaking up all the information. And one night I was brought into it was Zombo Records studios, and which doesn't exist anymore. But it was late at night, and I was doing this recording for these producers, and apparently one of the interns at the studio was there, giving us coffee.
Yeah.
Fast forward a couple of months later, I stopped working with these guys, and I get a call from one of the head A&R at Universal Motown directly to see if I would work on a project for a big artist. Oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? Aaron Carter. If you remember Aaron Carter from way back. He was a little kid and we were younger. And to do some vocals for him. It turned out that the intern at the studio was working on another session later on. The producers were who had just finished a bunch of songs with like Ricky Martin and Britney Spears and a bunch of big artists, and they were looking for a new background singer for their productions. And he said, I guess he told them, there was this girl that was in here a little while ago, and she was so good. I remember her name, and he didn't know these janky producers, but he knew Universal, that they were working for a Universal girl group. And that's how they called me. And I guess what happened when the A&R called the producer, he was so afraid, he didn't want to lose his contract. He just gave him my number, not knowing what was going on. Yeah. And that was the start of my career in the industry.
That's amazing. And now you moved to Dubai, right?
Yes. So I've been all over. I started my business in South Jersey, migrated to New York City, back to New York City, then was in LA for a few years, and that's where I met my husband, who is based in the UAE, and planned on moving there just for a year, and I've been there now for 3.5 years.
Wow.
And back and forth with work, and then with COVID hit, it kind of put everything on hold, right? So, but I love living there. I love Dubai.
How do you see it in terms of the business, and especially what do you see about voice coaching in the UAE and in Dubai in particular?
I feel overall, which is understandable, the industry is very young in the UAE, right? I mean, the country's young, and there are a lot of things that need to be elements that need to be worked through, for example, it would be great to develop unions and protection for songwriters and artists that would help tremendously as far as artists getting compensated properly, and new talent coming in and contributing to the economy there and setting up shop there, because those are things that we have. For example, in the US, we have equity and we have protection, which is why so much great work is done here. And I think once that gets balanced out, you would have tremendous talent going there. Right now, I feel there's an underground. It's exciting because it is new. On the flip side, there's this underground wave of fresh talent, and they're just looking. They're so hungry just to perform anywhere. You have a lot of, underground. You have a lot of open mic cafes, opening up, opportunities everywhere.
We never saw it before.
Right. Yeah. And even in the couple years that I've been there, the few years that I've been there, I've seen it popping up more and more. And it's exciting, especially after COVID. I think COVID kind of just all around the world, right? It just put everybody being forced on this lockdown. Yeah. Everyone was just itching to get out and create.
100%.
And I think it's going to come back full force.
100%. So I have lots of friends who are like singers, and they like years ago we never thought that could be a thing for them to actually pursue their dreams and actually become singers, release singles, and that we see it on platforms even like Anghami and other even platforms, YouTube, everything. But now seeing them perform on stages in the UAE really is amazing.
It is. It's so exciting, and I want to see more of it. I'm excited. I want to put on shows. I'm excited to do that again and try to bring over what I've done in New York and in the States just in general, and bring it to the UAE, because again, there's just so much there's so much hunger out there for it, and wow, when we're able to do that, it's just gonna the floodgates are gonna open up, and it's really an exciting time.
Exactly.
I think right
now.
Yeah.
And I love that you shed the light on a very important topic, which is copyrights and things like that for singers, and even like being paid in the right way, because a lot of them gets called for a collaboration, a free one, and they have their time, effort, and everything, and it's their source of income as well. It's not only a passion. So can you tell us more about this challenge that those talents face?
Well, I think it's also a challenge. There's a lot of for voice talent, for example, there's an acting, right? Yeah. There's a challenge because they're working through agencies, and then agencies aren't getting paid by clients, and or agencies aren't paying the artists, and that's another thing where you'll go in and you'll do a job, and then months later you're still waiting for payment. It's unregulated, and the thing here, the difference is here, it's law, and it's followed up, and there are heavy fines. If I were to, for example, perform, sing a backup song for a major television show, or even record something, there are certain minimums that have to be paid, and if the company doesn't pay them, they lose their license. Nice. There are heavy fines, and for there are major drawbacks for not doing it. They'll lose their license as an agency. They'll lose their license to do business, and they'll still have to pay the talent. So, and the other thing too is there are other benefits. It's just protection for the artist, and I think that's something that is really unfortunate because things are not regulated. You'll have the same person going to do a job that they should get being paid 5 times for, 10 times for, and they're getting paid so minimal, and or not at all, and that's going to keep a lot of talent, a really great talent, from actually setting up roots there in the UAE, which is a shame because we need that, and the talent that is already there, or here. Well, I say here, there, because I'm in New York now, but they're in the UAE. There's so many fantastic, talented artists there, and they need that, and I think once we get a handle on that, it's going to change the game. So yeah.
Hoping for the best. What about like during the pandemic? How did it affect you coaching your students and clients?
Well, for me, as you know, I have clients all over the world. So I've been doing sessions virtually.
Oh, nice. How did that work?
It went well. I've been doing it for a very long time, years and years and years before COVID, before I even moved out of the US. So I'm used to that. I prefer to work with artists in person, in the studio, just because singing, whether it's anything with the voice, it's physical. I mean, I also, my method is not just based on a typical, okay, or we're going to work through your voice and run through exercises today.
Yeah.
It's all encompassing. It's developing the performer. So it might be working through their compositions, it's working through their stage choreography, it's working through a lot. So it's very physical. So I obviously prefer to do that. However, we do the best we can, and I think everyone learns to adapt. But as I said earlier, it's created this drive to I just want to go out and see people and converse in person and
100%
connect in person, because as human beings, that's what we need, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Did you see though a difference in culture, like especially that you have clients from all over the world, but what about like when you moved to the UAE and Dubai?
What I have seen is, getting back to it being a very young audience, I feel that there are many. Now, this is not to spite any of, there are some companies out there that are really trying hard to build up the talent pool and give proper training to artists. But I found it lacking when I moved. And I found that there are a lot of others that are just you're not getting the right training. I mean, in the States, it's a very competitive world. I mean, especially in the major cities, you'd move to New York, you'd move to Los Angeles, you now move to maybe Austin or Atlanta to train, depending on what type of, if you're going into pop music or if you wanted to be on Broadway or what have you. It's a very competitive, and the training has to match that, right? And I find that it was lacking, and I think it needs to be brought up, and all of these things that we've talked about contribute to that. But it's also we do have a few that are, I'm seeing them pop up more and more throughout the past few years, of companies, dance companies and acting companies, and music, and they're really trying to raise the level of talent. Because one thing that I find like kids are lacking, they're not getting, even in the schools, are performance. They don't know how to perform. They might have a beautiful voice, but they don't know how to sell it.
True.
And that's I would even argue in today's music is more important than the voice. Because everything's so manipulated. You're in radio, how it works. But if you have both, oh my God, you're unstoppable, right? So it's
exactly. The competition though, it's like rising and everything. But how do you see the future of this industry, especially in the Middle East, and in terms of business, in terms of money, really?
Well, like I said, I think when there are more protection for artists, I think you're going to see such a great rise when they feel that they have that backing, that support behind them, and also feel the support where they can go out and perform and create, and there isn't a bunch of red tape to cut through. That's going to change the game. I personally, one thing that really attracted me to moving out to the Middle East, and especially the UAE, because I feel it's kind of like on the forefront of innovation and just evolution and growth, and all of these exciting things are happening. I feel that I want to see more influence, like coming into like top 40 radio pop music, like even out in, you say like Western radio, I guess we'd say in the GCC, but like in the US, I want to see more Middle Eastern or GCC based artists collabing with top top pop artists. I'm dying for more of that, because I really think it's going to open so much in the music industry, and just understanding and kind of change the game in the music of the stylings, and introducing new instruments, and just new ways of telling the story, right? And so I'm really excited, and I hope to be a part of that. So
I'm sure we really love the passion in your eyes when you're talking about this industry. And thank you so much for your efforts. And thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much. And I'll tell you, if anybody wants to get in touch with me, you can reach me. I know you have a lovely social handle on my Instagram.
Yes.
But you can, it's right, I guess there. But you can also reach me on stacysmithvoice.com.
Awesome.
Okay.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, love.
Thank you. Thank you for being with us. You too. And I'll see you tomorrow, guys, in a new episode. Thank you so much.